Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today, we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. If you go back in time, and we go all the way back to the beginning of 2022, leading up to 2023, and then where we are at right now, there has been a very significant shift that has happened, and it happened very fast. Over the last 2 years alone, we have witnessed the Brics expand rapidly. Now, what was the accelerator for that? Well, it was sanctions put on Russia by the US. But once we saw that, the next day, literally 24 hours later, we got an executive order from the US president. Now, that executive order outlined digital assets, CBDCs, and basically gave us the blueprint for the new financial system. Go back to March of 2023, and we see the Saudi Arabian and Iranian foreign ministers spoke by phone and have agreed to meet soon. Now, at this time, we were focused on what the Brics were doing. Both of these countries have formally asked to join the Brics. Last year, China said it wanted to expand the Brics bloc, and the country brokered the deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Then, we got this back in November. Brics, US dollar top loser, as Saudi Arabia pays Chinese yuan for trade. Now, this has been a growing thing, right? We were talking about this for a while. But then we got this back in the beginning of January. Today, Brics officially expanded to include UAE, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Egypt, and Iran. The big thing here is that it represents 29% of global GDP and 43% of global oil production. Oil, digital currencies, trade on new rails. Now, this was the big thing. But then we got in the middle of January, Saudi Arabia yet to officially join the Brics. It was a back and forth, right? Everyone was up in arms. They were like, what the hell is actually going on here? Because I did make a video on both of these subjects. But we just got officially Saudi Arabia has officially joined the Brics. Historic day. This is not going to get reported on. It's not going to get reported on. Mainstream media will not tell you anything. When we look at what's going on here, there is a significant shift happening. You have central bankers buying up massive amounts of gold at a time where fiat currencies are starting to crack. Digital assets, the entire crypto scene, now on the spotlight stage. Tokenization. BlackRock is now looking at tokenization as the next big thing to transcend every other asset class, and at a time where most people are still not paying attention. As you do see some of these comments, the most underreported story of the day: lose the petrodollar, lose the reserve currency status. We're watching and experiencing an empire in rapid decline. All self-inflicted. Now that is something to talk about. When we look at what's going on in the US, everyone is up in arms saying, it's Biden, it's this, it's that. Everyone wants to bring politics into it, but what if I told you that both sides are playing the game? This is all self-induced. We are witnessing the downfall of our financial system in real time to usher in a new financial system. I've mentioned it many times on the channel that if you go back to 2008, have we really bounced back fully? Or have we just put up this, oh, hey, look at everything's all good, this fairy tale land play that's been playing out for years now, because it's all a sham. It's all a big scam. We've already talked about the reserve banking system, right? The fractional reserve banking system, as we know it, is a big made up scam. But we've talked about it, right? 2008, And since then, the entire system, everything has been propped up and inflated by printing massive amounts of money just to make things look like we have bounced back strong. But we haven't. We've been playing a game that has been fake for years and years and years. Now, like I said, the reason why this is so damn significant is because of oil, is because of the petrodollar deal. Because once we do lose that, yes, we do lose the reserve currency status. All of this is happening at a time where most people are not actually paying attention to what's really going on. This is significant moves being made outside of the US that is going to change everything. And it's not just Saudi Arabia, right? It's Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and even the UAE. The US dollar as we know it is at a standstill. It's at a point of essentially no return. Now, as we look at this, what's going to happen next? Well, this video here by Glenn Beck is great. I think everyone should listen closely to what is being said here. A new Axis alliance is forming. Russia, China, India, Brazil, Mexico. Think about what will happen to the price of your clothing, cars, or anything with a microchip if these countries no longer trade with us. Check this out.
I want you to really understand what I just told you, the ramifications of this. What I told you is there's an Axis and allied power. Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Ukraine, Russia, the stands, of course, Saudi Arabia, I don't know about Yemen, Iran, India, China. Those are all part of an ally. Now, everybody's talking about gold. Oil. What would that mean for oil? But I just told you it also affects the U.S. dollar. This will take the U.S. dollar out of the world reserve currency, which people told me 10 years ago could never happen. It's going to happen soon. But more importantly, goods and services. Think about what happens if we take this part of the world out of production. Let's say there's a Cold War. When we had a Cold War with Russia, we didn't really need any stacking dolls, so we were pretty good. But now, if this is the Cold War and we don't trade with these guys, do you know how much your clothing is going to cost? How much a car will cost? Where are you going to get your chips for anything? Because Taiwan is the one that makes all of the sophisticated chips. This is going to change everything about your life, everything that you think you know about America.
And again, this got posted back in 2022. We saw it then, we see it now. It's a big moment. This is one of the largest moments. If there was anything to ever focus on right now, this is it. Now, you might be questioning, well, where the hell does XRP come into play? Where does all of this come into play? Well, we've talked about it, right? The Brics, Russia, China, they've all been talking about digital, going digital. All of this is forcing the hand of the new system. We know that it's here. We know that's happening. Every single damn organization that the elites control, we're talking about the IMF, the World Economic Forum, you name it, all of them have been talking about the fourth industrial revolution, DLT, blockchain, moving towards a more digital society. How do you think we get there? We have to have these big moments. We have to have these big events. This is it. And what's crazy about this is it's coming at a time where we are now seeing traditional finance, DeFi convergence continues through tokenizing real-world assets. It was back in August. Fast forward, we have HSBC to offer tokenized securities custody services for institutions. Mind you, this is tokenized gold, planned for 2024, as well as one for issuing digital assets. And this is with Medico, which is Ripple owned. This is through HSBC Orion. Things are changing. Things are changing heavily. Tokenization is the thing that's going to be setting this market ablaze for the next 5, 10 plus years. We have gold demand to hit record with central bank buy-in. Central bank purchases OTC buying key to rising consumption. Fed's expected pivot is seen, spurring additional accumulation. Total gold demand hit a record last year, and is expected to expand again in 2024. All of this at a time where we're seeing major change happening on the side of oil and gas and energy markets, right? Now the question is, what do you think happens when we start to see these big players tokenizing oil? Well, now they need something to move it over. They need DLT, they need blockchain. It's all a part of the big show. I've talked about how Brics is forcing the hand, right? They know how big of a scam the US dollar as a reserve currency has been. They're tired of the US and the US dollar. Listen, we've weaponized the US dollar for a while. It's one of the biggest financial weapons. In fact, it's one of the biggest weapons that the US actually has. Everyone wants to talk about the military. The military is just there to actually protect the dollar. We've talked about this in the past. Go back in time, go back in history, and look at most of the wars that we have started. Guess what most of those wars were for? It was to protect the dollar because somebody was challenging it or some sort of major event was happening. And again, why do you think politicians love war? Because it puts them in a position where they could actually print more, they could prop things up, which this has been happening for a while. One of the biggest shifts in scenery was the move away from the gold standard, right? And what replaced that was actually the petrodollar deal. Now, outside of the petrodollar deal, what is actually propping up the dollar anymore? And for those out there that are saying, well, there's not going to be tokenized oil. Well, here you guys have Saudi Aramco, SBI Explore Digital Asset Investment Collaboration. This goes back to December 11th. I talked about this. And, this is very interesting because now we're starting to see tokenization, crypto, all of it being focused on. Saudi Aramco is one of the largest players in the oil and energy sector. They are one of the largest companies out there in general. Now, there's going to be an emphasis on tokenization. Tokenized securities, tokenization of commodities, everything. Everything will be tokenized. I've addressed this on multiple occasions. The big question is, what players are going to be tied back to this? Well, we know SBI, right? SBI Holdings. They love XRP. They love XDC. They are a big one to watch. But then you also have HSBC. Where does gold come into play? Well, I've addressed it, right? When you start tokenizing gold and you start tokenizing oil and you have all of these big tokenization endeavors happening, well, now you're starting to see the new system being put together, right? You have CBDCs, stablecoins, tokenized things of value, all backed by something you can trust. Gold, something that is physical, something that you can now fractionalize as well because it's tokenized. Gold. This is why you are seeing central bankers buying up a ton of gold. They want to back this new system with gold. They're going to be able to revalue gold as well. Remember, Basel III for all those individuals out there that love correcting me on it. Basel III is a huge one. That's going to force the hands as well. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on the banking sector. At a time where I would argue that the banking sector can't really stand too much more pressure. Things are starting to crack around the traditional system. So now we look at what's going to happen next. And like I said, central bankers are planning CBDCs. They're buying up tons of gold. Well, guess what? It seems as though they want to back these new central bank monies with gold. They want to tokenize gold as well to fractionalize it, make sure that there's enough gold out there. And then they also want to tokenize everything, which means oil as well. We are seeing the hands being forced by these big plays like Saudi Arabia joining Brics. I've talked about how Brics is one of the biggest events that's going to push us into this new system. But mainstream media won't tell you any of this. Mainstream media won't talk about any of this. They will not tell you this until it's too late. But we are already witnessing the shift. And this is representing 29% of global GDP. and 43% of global oil production. This is positioning the Brics as a major leader, and we need to focus on them right now. Everyone has laughed at Brics for years and years and years, saying, oh, they're not going to dethrone the dollar. Guess what? This move here is very significant, and everyone should be looking at this. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if there's more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.